everyone about those polls, but the fact of the matter is there are the undecideds, and you've got voter turnout, which will be a big decider come Election Day. Rick Mullaney from the Jacksonville University Public Policy Institute back here on the morning show. You know, Rick, some debates transform the fundamentals of a political campaign. This one did not.
I don't believe it did. Highly anticipated, huge audience. I think on debating points, as we may talk about, edge to Hillary Clinton, but not a knockout blow, not a debate, I believe, that did transform this election.
Let's talk about where the candidates scored. For Hillary Clinton, as I sat back and I kind of analyzed, it was race, gender, and security. And for Trump, he's stronger as the outsider.
He was, and it was really almost the tale of two debates. Early in the debate, Donald Trump was very strong. I think he did well on NAFTA. He did well on TPP. He did well on trade. He did well on jobs not leaving the country. But after about 20 to 25 minutes, for the last hour, you saw Hillary Clinton go on offense. And on the issues you just talked about. She was prepared to go after Donald Trump's weaknesses. His tax returns, the birther issue, his business record, NATO. He, on the other hand, did not appear quite as prepared to go after her weaknesses. You didn't hear anything about the Clinton Foundation. You didn't hear anything about speeches with Goldman Sachs, very little about emails. So Hillary Clinton gets high points on the debate being prepared and as an effective debater.
Didn't hear anything about immigration.
Immigration, not a single question, not a single comment. But I will say this for Lester Holt. He gave them great freedom and flexibility. Some may criticize this question or that, but actually each candidate had the opportunity to pivot to the areas that they wanted to. I thought Hillary Clinton did an effective job of putting Donald Trump on defense, and he spent the last half of the debate on defense.
When you get to what was the most important thing to be showcased out of this debate, was it the differences in style and personality?
I think in many ways it was. Donald Trump was very broad thematically, which is Donald Trump, early in the debate in particular, talking about jobs, about China, about trade. Hillary Clinton, however, very masterful on the depths of public policy, very prepared as a debater to make this debate on her turf. You know, when you're talking about Donald Trump's taxes, when you're talking about the birther issue, when you're talking about his business record, she was winning because she was pushing the case. He, on the other hand, did not do it with her. I think one of the takeaways from this debate, it'll be very interesting to see what happens in debate number 2, is that she pretty much was on offense, especially the second half of the debate. He was pretty much on defense. I don't think there was a knockout blow.
Let's talk about the bells that didn't ring. There needs to be some fact checking. And I know Lester Holt, I actually saw him in New York City Wednesday night. And he says, my job is not to fact check. I'm there to be the moderator. But Donald Trump, and this does not reflect any political views here at Channel 4, it's just factual, he again defied the facts.
Well, you know, I tend to lean towards Lester Holt's view that with technology today and on social media, as they're talking, there's a lot of fact-checking going on. And it is really, really difficult for the moderator to insert themselves into the debate. Overall, I thought he did a pretty good job. He tried to make the debate about those two. There were differences in facts between each two, particularly, as you mentioned, with Donald Trump. But the accounts in the days after the debate will catch up with that. So I think as a moderator, overall, I give him high marks. Some of the questions, he gave them the freedom to go kind of almost wherever they wanted.
Next debate is the vice presidential candidates, but move forward to October.
Yes.
And the next presidential debate. What do you think the tone will be? How different will it be from debate number 1?
Well, it's interesting. 4 years ago, in 2012, you saw Mitt Romney have an outstanding debate in his first debate, and that was much talked about. And in the second and third debates, Barack Obama came on very strong, and according to many pundits, won those two debates. Here, I think you'll probably see a very different Donald Trump in debate number 2. If anything, this debate may heighten the appetite for debate number 2. Will Donald Trump be better prepared to go after what are the perceived weaknesses of Hillary Clinton? Will Hillary Clinton be as effective as she was in going after Donald Trump's weaknesses? So debate number 2, I think, will grow in anticipation in large part because of this debate.
Time will tell. Rick Mullaney, always a pleasure. Appreciate you.